Every single morning, 7:15 a.m. without fail, Cooper would sit in front of the door, a German shepherd, broad, black and brown, eyes the color of amber, like old whiskey catching the light. He never tried to open it. He never barked. He just sat there and stared. James's daughter Emma had asked him once, "Daddy, why does Cooper always look at that door? Does he know something we don't?" James had no answer, because for 3 years now, he'd been asking himself the same question. James Calloway, 44 years old, Portland, Oregon. There was a time when this house was full. Lisa's laughter, the kind that traveled down the whole street. Emma learning to ride her bike, circles on the front lawn, over and over. The noise of dinner, the sound of the TV, the clink of dishes in the sink. Then Lisa was gone. Not gone. No, she was taken. One January morning, a car accident, black ice, Highway 26. Emma was 3 years old. James stopped going to work. He pulled the curtains shut. He forgot how to cook. The only thing left in him, the only thing that kept him standing, was dropping Emma off at school every morning. That was it. That was all he had. Then, the same year, his neighbour Mrs. Henderson brought over a dog, a rescue. Nobody knew his past. No file, no history, just him. And those eyes that always looked at James like they were saying, "I'm here, right here, I see you." But Cooper had one habit, just one. That had confused James from the very first day. There was a door in the house, the basement door, old wood, worn at the edges. James had never opened it, because downstairs was Lisa's studio, her paintings, her things, her smell, which James was convinced was still down there somehow, waiting. Cooper always sat in front of that door, 7:15 a.m. every day. At first, James thought, maybe there's a scent down there, a mouse, something. But Cooper never scratched, never whined. He just sat and stared at that door, and sometimes tilted his head to one side, like he was listening to something only he could hear. "Cooper, come on," James would say. Cooper wouldn't move. "Cooper, come." Cooper would turn just once, those amber eyes, and then look back at the door. 3 years, 1,095 mornings. Cooper never left that door. Emma was 12 now, and she loved Cooper more than anything in the world. More than her dad, James sometimes thought, with a quiet smile. They were a team, those two. Cooper walked her to the school bus every morning, every single day, and then came back and sat in front of the door. When Emma came home in the afternoon, Cooper was already waiting at the door to welcome her. One evening, Emma took James's hand. "Daddy," she said in that serious little voice that "Cooper is looking for Mommy." James's heart stopped. "What do you mean, baby?" "He wants to go downstairs. Mommy used to be down there. Maybe he thinks she's still there." James said nothing. That night, after Emma was asleep, he sat alone in the kitchen, Cooper beside him. And for the first time in 3 years, James looked at that door, really looked at it. That door was the last place Lisa had been. The night before the accident, she had gone downstairs to her studio. Cooper came to him, silently, and rested his head on James's leg, heavy, warm, real. James felt the tears before he even realized he was crying. "What do you know, buddy?" he said, laughing and crying at the same time. Cooper didn't close his eyes, he just looked at him. Then came that night. A cold February evening, Emma woke up with a fever. James rushed her to the after-hours clinic. 2 hours, maybe more. By the time they got back home, it was almost 11 p.m. Emma had fallen asleep in the car. James carried her upstairs, tucked her in. Then he came back downstairs and stopped. The basement door was open, not all the way, just a few inches, just enough. Darkness beyond it. James's heart began to pound. Cooper? The stairs were old wood. They creaked under his weight. James went down, the first time in 3 years. The studio was exactly as she'd left it, and there, in the corner, Cooper, sitting in front of a canvas. James went still. It was an unfinished painting, Lisa's last one. He had never seen it. A landscape, mountains, a wide sunset sky, but in the middle, 3 figures, a man, a little girl, and there at their feet, in the grass, a black dog. The faces were unfinished, just outlines, but James knew exactly who they were. She had painted them, him, Emma, and a dog she had never even met yet, the night before. She knew, James thought. His throat tightened. She knew we were going to be alone. She knew. Cooper wasn't sitting in front of that door because he was looking for Lisa. He was sitting there because of something in that painting. James picked up the paper and read, "For James. If I'm ever not here, Dad, don't close the door. The dog knows. Dogs always know. Let him in. He'll take care of you both." James couldn't breathe. He looked at Cooper. When morning came, Emma padded downstairs, her eyes still puffy with sleep, and found her father sitting in the studio with Cooper. "Daddy, you came down?" James pulled her into his arms, held her for a long time. "Yeah," he said, finally. "I'm sorry it took me so long." Emma looked at the painting. She didn't ask any questions. She just reached out, touched the figures on the canvas one by one, and smiled. "Mommy knew, didn't she?" she said softly. "Right, Cooper." Cooper wagged his tail.
That day, for the first time in 3 years, the basement door stayed open, and Cooper, at 7:15 a.m., was not sitting in front of any door. Some souls don't stay. They just make sure you're never truly alone.
If this story moved you, leave a like. It means the world to me. Subscribe for more powerful stories and turn on the bell so every new story reaches you first.